we are talking about the coronavirus pandemic, and we know that so many people are dying in the world. So now, as we are talking right now, Jonga, we see that there are roughly about 2,582,529 people that have actually contracted this disease. Out of these people in the world, about 178,000 have actually died. When you look at USA, we know, Jonga, that 825,306 people have actually contracted this disease. When it comes to deaths, there are more than 45,000. In Zimbabwe, indications are that there are 4 people that have already died of coronavirus COVID-19, and one of them actually died today. Over to you, Jonga.
Thank you so much, Gibbs. My name is Jonga Kandemiiri, and you are listening to Diaspora Forum. Tonight, as Gibbs said earlier on, we are looking at the coronavirus pandemic and how it is affecting Zimbabweans. As you all know, Zimbabwe so far recorded 28 cases with 4 deaths. And in America, where we are based in the United States of America, there are 826,258 confirmed cases and 45,382 deaths, while the world over, the number stands at 2,585,468 cases of confirmed coronavirus and 178,845 deaths. Hongu nasiri kukurukura nedambudziko rechirwere checoronavirus chanetsa chamuri kuziva charura munyika dzese pasi rose. MuZimbabwe kune vanhu vanokwana kuita 27 vabatwa nechirwere ichocho, uye vanhu 4 vafa kusvika pari nhasi. Tanzwa kuti vashaya mumwe kuti vave wechina ndamai vane makore anokwana kuita 82. Tichiti kuhama dzose dzakarasikirwa nevadikani vavo, tine urombo, tinochema nemi. Nhasi tinoda kunzwa kwamuri vana veZimbabwe kuti zvii zvatingaita mukubatsirana kuti vanhu vange vachiwaniswa chenjedzo. Gibbs.
Kunjalo sibili njengokutsho kwaJonga, sibili ukhanyazani emhlabeni wonke jikelele kuyahanjwa sibili, abantu bayabhubha babulawa ngomkhuhlane lo. Umkhuhlane lo sibili eZimbabwe usubamba abantu abangu-28, abane sebebhubhile, kuzokuthi ababili sebesilile emkhuhlane lo. So-ke siyabona njalo-ke ukuthi Jonga, nxa sesikhangela okwenzakalayo, kukhanya ngazani abantu abaningi bahamba ezibhedlela uzokuthiwa umuntu sebulawa isifuba, into ezinjalo. Khona ngale-ke sokudingwa ama-ventilator ukuthi ancede abantu, kodwa kukhanya ngazani kulobuzima mfowethu, njalo abantu abaningi sebelahlekelwe impilo yabo. So singazi-ke ukuthi ulodokotela uChareka okhulume laye kumbe osithumezele ividiyo, akusitshele ngoDr Brighton Chireka Baba Jonga Kandemiiri.
Gibbs, that video, it was done by Dr. Brighton Chireka, a Zimbabwean who is based in the United Kingdom. He's a doctor there, and he produced that video just as part of the awareness campaigns going out there from different sources, and he allowed us to use that video. Video yabva kuna chiremba vanonzi Dr. Brighton Chireka vari United Kingdom kuLondon uko. Vakaita video iyoyo yechenjedzo kana yekudzidzisa vanhu pamusoro pecoronavirus nekuti zvii zvingaitwa mukuedza kudzivirira kupararira kweutachiwana ihwohwo. Saka vakatipawo mvumo yekuti tinge tishandisa video iyoyo seStudio 7 Voice of America. Ndo yatiinayo parishino Gibbs.
Greetings, this is Dr. Chireka. It is very sad that we are losing a lot of our colleagues, our friends, our loved ones, especially from the black community. We have lost a lot of Zimbabweans, nurses, even doctors. When we start losing our loved ones in such high numbers from this pandemic, we start to ask questions. We need to ask questions that are uncomfortable. We need to ask questions that challenge some of the way we do things. I think as an NHS, we know that NHS would call it a United Nations, meaning that the NHS is full of people from all over the world. We have got black people, people from Africa, Asian people, white people, and we work together. But there's something that we need to make sure that we have addressed and deal with it. Firstly, we need to make sure that when we go and work in this pandemic, when we go and work, we must have personal protective equipment. If there's no personal protective equipment, no one should be working in these hospitals. But what we find is one habit that has been happening, which no one has even challenged. But we know that when you are an agent staff, when you go to work, you are the one that is given difficult patients. You are the one that is put in a ward that is difficult, because there are certain wards where people don't want to work in. There are certain wards where there's a high staff absenteeism, where staff, they're always falling sick. How do they manage those wards? They manage them by making sure that they get agent staff. And who is working as agent staff? Majority of us, black people, African people, we have opened our own agents organizations, our own companies, which is good. But then that means that we are the ones who will be sending our staff, or will be going ourselves to make sure that we fill those shifts. Because failure to fill shifts, it means you won't get business tomorrow. So that is putting a lot of our people at a high risk. But there should be guidelines. You don't work in an environment that makes you feel unwell, that puts your life at risk. Another thing that people are forgetting to look at is that when you are working as a frontline staff, you mustn't be exposed every day. So people need to look at how many hours are you working as a frontline staff? Are you getting enough breaks? Are you also taking enough rest? And what forms of personal protective equipment are you using? So if we don't deal with that, we'll find that we end up losing most of our loved ones. I'm not saying the people that are dying are dying due to this, but I'm just highlighting some of the issues that we need to address, that we as a people, we have to address those. Yes, but the narrative is only focusing on one area, that black people have got diabetes, black people have got other underlying conditions like asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, high blood pressure, heart failure, HIV. Yes, those conditions, we might have them, but that's not only the reason why most of us are dying. I think it's exposure, and also the lack of personal protective equipment being given to our people. So what can we do as a people? What can we do as a community? We need to raise awareness amongst ourselves. One, please, if you've got any underlying condition, make sure that you follow the guide from your doctor. Two, if you go to work, make sure that you are being given personal protective equipment that is being given to everyone. Two, you need to reduce the number of hours that you are working. You may have a lot of large bills to meet, to pay, but please, the more you're exposed in these frontline jobs, the higher your risk of getting infection. It's common sense. So we need to make sure that we are doing, and also you need to look after yourself, have enough time to rest, and also you need to make sure that you're also having enough sleep. So those are things that we need to make sure that we are addressing. And then I think, having said that, we need to have a research, to have an inquiry. The NHS has got a duty to protect its employees. So we call upon the NHS to look at, is there a reason why black and ethnic minorities are dying in large numbers? We may not have the figures, but we need to look at that and come up with an answer as to why. But from what we are saying, what we are seeing is that black people who are working as agents, as they seem to be unfairly represented in people who are dying. My condolences goes to all those that have lost their loved ones. We don't know why things are like this. but we are asking for an inquiry into this death. But whilst we're waiting for the inquiry, there are a few things that we can do. If there's no PPE, you don't have to work. Do not overwork. Have enough rest. If you've got any underlying conditions, make sure that you are.
Yes, so Jonga, I think the doctor is saying a lot of things here, and he's very much concerned about the death of some people in the UK, especially Zimbabweans and black people in general. So he says there is this kind of thing that black people are actually dying in large numbers, and there's an assumption that maybe it's because most of them, or some of them have got certain underlying conditions that are really devastating to them. So now, can you say something about what the doctor is saying, maybe in Shona?
Ndizvo chaizvo Gibbs chiremba Brighton Chireka vari kutaura pamusoro pematambudziko ari kusangana zvikuru nevanoshanda muzvipatara kana muboka rezveutano vakatarisa iko kwavo kwavari ikoko kuEngland kana kuBritain kune inonzi NHS. Vari kutaura kuti matambudziko mazhinji anenge ari kunyanyosangana nevechitema kusanganisira vekuZimbabwe. Tinoona tine uwandu hwevanhu vakati kuti vatarasikirwa nawo kudunhu iroro nezvimwe zvezvinhu zvavari kutaurawo, vachitaura pamusoro pekuti vanhu vangazvichengetedza sei, nekuti kazhinji matauriro avaita Dr. Chireka vari kuti mune dzimwe nzvimbo muzvipatara vamwe vanenge vachishanda imomo, vana mukoti nevamwe vanoshanda muzvipatara, vanogona kuona kuti pane paita dambudziko rechirwere ichi voregedza kuenda kumabasa nokuti chirwere ichi Gibbs chirwere chiri kutyisa.
Kunjalo sibili okhulunywa nguJonga ukuthi abantu sibili kumele bethuke ngoba umkhuhlane lo uyabulala okunye okumangalisayo. I'm happy that we are joined by our first guest, and that is Dr. Munatsi, Edgar Munatsi. He's in the UK. I hope we are going to hear him. Dr. Munatsi, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Gibbs. How are you?
Oh, very fine. So we are happy that we got you on the line. So, we can even see you. So now we're talking about this coronavirus, COVID-19. Jonga, do you have a question? First question to pose to him?
Dr. Munatsi, I want to welcome you, Dr. Munatsi, to our show. And as usual, and we expect awareness from an expert like Dr. Munatsi. Dr. Munatsi, the main thing that is worrying Zimbabweans at the moment is the rate at which Zimbabweans are passing on due to coronavirus or COVID-19, especially in the United Kingdom. What can you tell people about that? We heard from Dr. Chireka's video, but I think you can add on that.
Thank you so much. I think Dr. Chireka summarized it quite well. The numbers of black people who are dying in the NHS is quite worrying and is disproportionately high as compared to the white counterparts. At this moment in time, we do not know the reasons for sure, but it is being postulated that it is because the system has a lot of inequalities in terms of how duties are being allocated, blacks being allocated maybe the sicker patients or the high-risk patients. And also, I think Dr. Chireka also explained that people were also taking long and many shifts, maybe trying to cover up in terms of also the resources in terms of the income itself. So there are probably many reasons why, but what we know for sure and for certain is that the numbers of black people or the minority groups that are dying within the NHS are disproportionately higher compared to the white counterparts.
Dr. Munatsi, looking at what is happening in Zimbabwe and other places on earth, Britain included, there are so many Zimbabweans that are dying there, but in Zimbabwe we know already 4 have actually died. So now looking at UK, we are told some people are saying up to about 30 Zimbabweans have died, and some of them are health workers. What's going on really?
I think basically, I think when it comes to health workers, this speaks to the risk that they are being, exposed to. they are in harm's way. Many of them are working in these COVID-19 wards, handling these patients on a daily basis. So definitely, I think the majority of Zimbabweans that are in the UK are working in the NHS. Most of them are nurses, some of them are doctors. So I think that also explains why we are seeing large numbers, as we also put together with other reasons that I have explained earlier, where it is being postulated that these black people or minority groups are being allocated to the wards that our counterparts wouldn't want to work in.
So now, Jonga, you can pose the next question.
Yes, Gibbs, maybe you can just explain what Dr.
Yeah, so what he was basically saying is, I'll ask him to say that in Shona as well. So go ahead, Doctor, and say it in Shona.
Tiri kunzwa kunzi muno mu-UK mu-England vanhu vatema vari kufa zvakanyanya kudarika vanhu vachena kana tichitarisa vanhu vanoshanda muzvipatara, vana mukoti nana chiremba. Zvimwe zvezvikonzero zviri kutaurwa panguva ino ndezvekunzi zvinoratidza sekuti vanhu vatema vari kushanda mabasa muzvikamu zvezvipatara muri kurapwa vanhu vane chirwere cheCovid-19. Uyewo vanhu vanga vachitora mukana kuti vashandewo maawa akawanda vakwanise kuwedzera mari. Izvi zvinove zvinosuruwarisa chaizvo nekuti hatidi kuti zvinhu zvakadai zviitike nekuda kwekuti vanhu vatema vanenge vachisaidzirwa kana kunzi vanobata varwere vasinawo zvekupfeka zvakakwana. Tiri kuona kuti nyaya yezvekupfeka muzvipatara idambudziko riri pasi rese. UK inaro dambudziko iroro, America inayo nedzimwewo nyika, asi tinenge tichishuvira nekukurudzira kuti vanhu kana vachienda kubasa ngavaende vanoshanda vakapfeka zvinodzivirira kuti vasabatwe nechirwere cheCoronavirus, nekuti zvakakosha, nekuti ndivo ka vanhu vari kurapa. Kana kukange kusisina vanhu vanorapa panoita dambudziko guru.
Yes, what he's saying, Jonga, is that when you look at how blacks are working in these hospitals, it seems as if they are mostly blacks that are working in hospitals where there are patients with COVID-19. So he says that's why maybe we've got this large number of blacks who are affected by COVID-19. So he's really saying that it's a question of even working so many hours, in these hospitals, and maybe sometimes they get tired and all these things. When you're tired, you can end up making mistakes. So now, yes, you can go ahead again, Jonga.
Yes, Gibbs, if we look at areas like in Zimbabwe, where there is that problem of basic commodities, people are still going out to look for food, are still going out to look for whatever. I saw some who are even complaining that the Zupco buses that are applying their routes at the moment, because all these other commuters and buses are not allowed to operate. They're saying those Zupco buses are not enough to take them to town or wherever they want to go, which means these people are not heeding the call to stay home and also observe the social distancing. What can be done to conscientize these people, Dr. Manazi?
I think it is important at this point in time for people to really understand the gravity of the matter that we are dealing with right now. We would not want to go into, for example, if I am to use the example of the latest victim in Zimbabwe today, we would not want to go into personal details, but it is a clear example of why it is important for people to hit the core. From the preliminary news that we are hearing is that someone traveled from abroad and then they visited people. Probably maybe they were not subjected to the quarantine because they are related to people in close to the power. So this is unfortunate and should not happen. And people need to really understand that. People have to hit the core. Coronavirus is a serious disease. We have seen people dying. We are seeing people dying. People have to stay at home. But at the same time, I also appreciate that people have difficulties in accessing food and getting groceries, which is why we've been calling upon the government to make sure that people, are given relief, they're given some, grants to make sure that during this time, the lockdown is effective. Companies are being given assisted by the government to pay their employees, to make sure that people can get food and stay at home, because this is very important.
So, Dr. Mnatsi, can you repeat that in Shona so that people can who understand Shona can hear more about it?
Panguva ino zvinhu zvakakosha chaizvo kuti vanhu vanzwisise kukosha kwekugara mudzimba nekunge vasingangomberereki vachifamba-famba nekuda kwekuti chirwere checorona chirwere chiri kuuraya vanhu zvatiri kuona zviri kuitika pasi rino. Tikada kuti tishandise muenzaniso wezvaitika kuZimbabwe nhasi, tikunzwa kunzi kune munhu ashayika, asi munhu uyu kushayika kwaaita kunge hama yanga yashanya kubva kumhiri kwemakungu. Saka muri kuona kuti zvinhu zvinosiruwarisa kuti tiite zvinhu zvakadaro. Vanhu ngavagare mudzimba vasafamba-famba, asiwo tinotiwo nekuda kwaizvozvo hurumende inofanira kubatsira vanhu kuti vakwanise kugara mudzimba umu, nekuti vanhu vanoda kudya, vanhu vanoda kurarama. Saka hurumende inofanira kuti ipe vanhuwo zvimari zvishoma zvokuti vakwanise kutenga chikafu. Macompanies anobhadhara vashandi ngavabatsirwe nehurumende kuti kana vanhu vachinge vatambiriswa kunyange vakagara kumba, vanokwanisa kuwana mari yekutenga muriwo, yekutengawo zvimwe zvavangada, kuitira kuti tikwanise kurwisana nechirwere ichi. Nekuti kana tikange tisingadaro, tinenge takurwisana nekuti vanhu vanoda kutsvaga chikafu panguva imwe chete toda kurwisana necoronavirus.
Yeah, so Jonga, what the doctor is saying here is that people must actually follow guidelines, the prescribed guidelines of what people should do in order to avoid contracting COVID-19. So he says the basic thing is stay at home because this thing can actually devastate you. He knows that there's a problem of food in Zimbabwe, but basically there's every reason for people to stay at home, because this disease kills. Jonga, over to you.
Ndizvo chaizvotanzwa Dr. Edgar Mnatsi vari ku-UK vari kutaura pamusoro penyaya yandasimudza yekuti tiri kunzwa vanhu kuZimbabwe kuri kuramba kuchiita dambudziko mune dzimwe nzvimbo, mune mamwe matunhu tatoona vamwe vari kunyunyuta kuti mabhazi eZUPCO ari kufamba kunzvimbo dzavo mashoma, dai vawedzerwa kuti vakwanise kuenda kunzvimbo dzakasiyana-siyana. Asi tinoziva kuti kune lockdown kana kuti kune mutemo uri kurambidza vanhu kufamba wakatowedzerwa nemasvondo maviri. Ndakanzwa mumwe achiita loGibbs zvikanzi, thank you President for extending this with the 2 weeks.
Yebo kambe liyamuzwa lapho uJonga Kandemiiri uyakhuluma ukuthi kulabantu akade bevela kwele Britane ekade bengani bacela ukuthi bahlaliswe endaweni ezingcono khona ngale Zimbabwe, kodwa kukhanya ngazani ke kuyahlupha khona kuhulumende la ucina sithi lokho kwenza ukuthi kungahambi ngemfanelo. So siyabona njalo ke kulabantu abaningi abasithumezela ama-audios achiyeneyo. Siyabona njalo ukuthi abanye bangikhona ngabantu abakhulu kakhulu abafisa ukuthi sidlale ama-audios abo. Sizakwenza njalo njengoba befisa ukuthi sikwenze khonapha-ke. So omunye wabo osithumezela i-audio ngumnumzana okhona ngale kwele Zimbabwe, uDingumuzi Phuthi. uPhuthi ungu-MP for Bulilima West nxa ngaphambanisi. Ke uyakhuluma ngabantu abakwele South Africa Jonga, ukuthi abantu abase South Africa labanye abaseBotswana bafuna ukuthi babuyele eZimbabwe ngoba sokukhanya ngazani indlala ibabambile khona ngale. So ke ake simuze ukuthi uthini ngodaba lolu ngoba kukhanya ngazani kuyahlupha kakhulu lokhu Jonga.
Kakhulu Gibbs ukuthi abantu bakithi
wasimfaki
Botswana labase South Africa bakhala ngendlala ukungatholi ukudla ngalesi sikhathi sobunzima bomkhuhlane weCoronavirus kumbe ngathi iCovid-19. Kodwa besivele singakunakanela ukuthi kungaba njalo ngoba sikwazi ukuthi iningi labantu beZimbabwe abasebenza kula mazwe ngabantu abasebenza imisebenzi yokuzisebenza, yokuzenzela, imisebenzi ethontisela imali nje lapha lalapha. Phoke nje ukumiswa okwenziweyo ukusebenza okujwayelekileyo sokusitsho ukuthi kudala indlala kuba abantu laba kulusizi kakhulu. Okunye sengikunanzelele Gibbs ukuthi lokhu sokubangela ukuthi abantu labana abathola amaphilisi eZimbabwe behlala eSouth Africa ikakhulu sebezahlana lodubo lokuthi beqise okuyabe kungaletha ukumemetheka kumbe ukuvuselelwa kwemikhuhlane abangabe beyithathela lawo maphilisi. Abantu labo kuthiwa ngomalayitsha abathwala impahla zisuka eGoli zisiza eZimbabwe bebuyela njalo bebesebenza umsebenzi omkhulu kakhulu wokuvala ubuhlungu balokhu. Pho abantu bona laba kade bethatha amaphilisi eZimbabwe beyahanjiselwa eSouth Africa, labo ngibona bebhekane lodubo lolo. Ngikubona kuyinto edinga ukuthi aluba abantu bengananzelela indlela yokuthi bangabuya njani ekhaya bencediswa ikakhulu nguhulumende ukuthi benelise ukuzohlangana lobunzima abangabubona besekhaya. Kunzima ukuba lodubo olungaka ukwelinye ilizwe ngoba nxa besekhaya lapha balendlela eziningi zokuthi kungakhangelwa njani khonokho. Ngibona ngazathi uhulumende uza kukhangela ngaleyo ndlela laye, kodwa ke bengisithi ngidlulise nje umbono wami wokunanzelela ukuthi sokubangele ukuhlupheka okungakanani ebantwini bakithi abaseZimbabwe South Africa ukungahambi kwabomalayitsha okubangela ukuthi kuswelakale indlela zokuthola impilo yakhulu amaphilisi. Njalo izizalwane zeZimbabwe eziseBotswana leze-South Africa udubo esezibhekane lalo lokuswelakala kokudla emazweni nalawo ngoba besebenza imisebenzi enjalo engakutsho ngaphambilini.
So Jonga, what he's saying is that you know, this problem of food is very, very huge in countries like Botswana and South Africa, because people are not accessing food, because it appears as if the South African government is actually catering for its own people and not you know, other people from yes. So then in that context, he's saying that you know, the government of Zimbabwe should actually help these people because they are totally helpless. They want to come back home. So he says the government should come out with a very big plan to actually repatriate these Zimbabweans. So I don't know, what's your opinion on that, Jonga, and maybe the doctor? Yeah.
I saw a post from the embassy inviting people to submit their names, those who wish to go back home. But what I failed to understand is who is going to foot the bill, because I thought the government said those people will foot their own bills, but they will be accommodated. I mean, the government, the embassy will facilitate their departure from South Africa. Since the borders are closed at the moment, they will facilitate that. But people have to foot their own transport costs. And also the other thing is when they get to Zimbabwe, they have to be quarantined. And, you know, many people, they don't want that. And that is going to force some people not to participate in that program. Otherwise, it's a good move that the government chip in. But if it says you chip in and you foot your own costs, and then when you get to Zimbabwe, people are afraid of being quarantined. Someone was asking also yesterday that what's the logic if it's true that people who are housed at Belvedere Training College are sharing rooms. You want to quarantine people, and those people, you make them share rooms, share bathrooms and all that. If that is really happening, I think it's not quarantining in that sense, because if these people still can mingle and meet the 65, we had some more yet to come. And in Plumtree, some people, I think they're numbering over 300 who were expatriated from from Botswana.
Yes.
We cannot say they were deported, I'm not sure. But those people came from Botswana and they were housed in Plumtree. And we don't know someone now, we spoke with, I'm forgetting the name, last week on our show. You were saying that the conditions are poor and people are still mingling and meeting. So I don't know how best that can be addressed. Maybe our good doctor can address that. Dr. Mnatsi, people are put in an area where they are supposed to be quarantined. Can those people be allowed to mingle, say 100 or so people?
Go ahead, doctor.
Thank you so much, Jonga. I think that is a big problem because then the purpose of quarantining is we are defeating the purpose anyway. people who are being quarantined are not supposed to mix and mingle for the purposes of making sure that if someone, let's say someone has COVID-19, but we don't know as yet, we don't want to be the quarantine area or the quarantine facilities to be, a hub of spreading this disease to other people who don't have it. Then it will be, making a grave mistake. So it is important for government to make sure that if they want to go ahead with the move of quarantining people, then they have to provide facilities that are conducive for that. Where people are able to, be in their own spaces, not share anything. Because once you do that, then we are putting so many lives in danger.
Yes. So, Dr. Mnatsi, when you look at that scenario, there's this issue of this disease being highly contagious. What will happen if they are put in one place like that for a long time?
If they are put in one place for a long time, if we assume that let's say that someone is or one or two people have COVID-19, the whole cohort or the whole group is going to get it. It is inevitable as long as people are mixing and mingling. So imagine the catastrophe that would have created. Instead of making sure that people put in a place that is big enough to accommodate everyone, so that they don't mix. And so that we don't spread the disease.
Yes, now, Jonga, I think we've got a councillor in Silobela, that is in the Midlands province, who also sent us a message. And Doctor, keep on holding there. We'll come back to you shortly. So let's hear what this councillor said about coronavirus, COVID-19. So he's really worried about food. He says food is a big challenge down there. So let's hear what he's saying.
Sawubona Dube. Hayi, ngapha siphilile baba. Yimi ukhansila umoyo uyilade edonsa. Ngaphansi kwesilobela kunduna umalisa. Hayi, siyalubona uhlelo lwe-lockdown. Kodwa ke akula ngenye indlela esingayenza madoda. Uhlupho kuphela silubonayo lapha ukuthi abantu bethu baza kufa indlala. Yilo uhlupho olukhulu i-lockdown yona ilungile ivikela impilo zethu phezulu kwalu umachaya bhuqe wesifo i-COVID-19 le. Kodwa ke i-challenge enkulu kade sesesilayo indlala. Njengakwesami isigaba lapha eDonsa, hayi uma ngoyesela leziko baba. Izilimo zatsha, izifuyo zafa ngendlala esizini ledlulileyo. Kade sabantu abavunanga lutho, kakula lutho sibili mangamabi uma ngoyesela leziko. Wesi abantu bakithi lapha abanengi bebephila ngokuthunyezelwa okuvela phetsheya emazweni ngabomalayitsha. Konke lokho kumile, akukho kudla okubuyayo, abantu sebethwele nzima la. Bathwele nzima sibili. Asazi ukuthi kathi uhulumende ngangenela njani. Khona idone eliholisa ukuthi i-Red Cross, kodwa ke hayi ayilancedo olukhulu lwenze ebantwini. Ifike yakhetha abantu yachiya abanye. Bona abangena ehlelweni bangena bebalutshwana, behola ukudla okulutshwana okuncane kakhulu. Kunzima, abantu bayalamba kakhulu sibili lapha. Angazi ukuthi uNkulunkulu angangenela njani athumele idona kumbe uhulumende asincedise njalo anikele abantu ukudla, ngoba sizabona izidumbu la kubi, amanzi kawakho, izibhorane zifile. Mase sithi siyazama ukuthi abaphezulu ngale bezosilungisela izibhorane bafike balungise 1 bahambe, akula manzi, yonke into ibhazalele, i-COVID le hayi isenzele okunye okuhlala kunjalo baba. Kodwa hayi inkosi izangenela ngalomkhuhlane ungadlula, abantu bazazama ukuthi sibone ukuthi masiphumela ngaphandle kambe kuyini esingakudobha lapha laphana ukuze abantu bengabulawa indlala.
So there you are, Jonga. The councillor is saying that in Donsa ward, that is Slovela, in the Midlands province, people are really suffering because there's no food, absolutely nothing. So he's saying that, during previous seasons, agricultural seasons, people didn't reap any kind of food, harvest. Their harvests were very poor. So at the end of the day, people really need assistance. So he's appealing to the government to actually help villagers. He says those villagers are in danger of death. He says they may die anytime because of lack of food. Over to you, Jonga.
Yes, thank you, Gibbs. I see there's one of our followers who is in New York.
Yes.
Kadlula.
Yes.
Who says even here in New York, there are nursing homes which are calling us caregivers to come and work for $30 per hour, and they know that some of us will go and risk our lives just because of money. It's very tempting. So mumwe vanhu vari kuteera chirongwa chedu ari muNew York muno muAmerica anyora achiteerawo pachirongwa chedu kuti patanga achitaura panyaya yekuti vanhu vari kunzi vaende kunoshanda zvikuru kuUK uko nekune dzimwe nzvimbo kune manursing homes kana kuzvipatara vachibva kuma-nursing agencies. Saka vari kutiwo kana kuno kuAmerica vari kusangana nedambudziko iroro kana chiitiko ichocho muNew York kwekuti kune mimwe misha inogara vakwegura vaya vari kudaidza vanhu ivo vashandi macaregivers kunzi uyai mushande nguva iyo inoyi muwana $30 per hour. Vamwe vanga vachimbopa vanhu kana $20 per hour, kana kuti paunoshanda uri kuwana kana $20 kana mari shoma iri pasi pe$20. Uwana kuri kunzi uyai kunenge muchiwana $30 per hour.
We'll ask the doctor to actually chip in there, because it seems as if this is a very, very serious problem. People end up getting tempted, in terms of getting money, and then they risk their lives. Doctor, can you pitch it there? What's going on really?
I think, Gibbs, it is important for people, particularly health workers, to understand that in as much as they want to get a little bit more to cover their bills, it is important to make sure that when they go and work in such institutions, then they are supposed to be given enough personal protective equipment to make sure that they don't contract the disease. We are not saying people should not work, but the personal protective equipment should be provided. If it is not provided, then it is not worth it to risk your own life with when it's you can be protected by getting the proper equipment that you can use in these hospitals.
So now, looking at the shortages of PPE and all those kind of things, is the same thing happening in Britain? Why is it that all of a sudden we've got such a shortage? Didn't people plan for it?
I think one of the problems that worsened the shortage of PPE is also the closure of borders, because remember, there are some countries which are known to be producing these in masses, and because these borders have been closed down, it is very difficult to for countries that do not produce them themselves to buy them. This is why we are seeing some special arrangements are being made. I think the UK had a special arrangement with Turkey, and we saw that yesterday they delivered a cargo of these personal protective equipment and other equipment that are being used to manage COVID-19. So it is very difficult under the circumstances that we are in right now.
Yes, Jonga, I think you know that there is what is called the VOA leaders right now. So this is sort of like recognizing people who are doing very, very well, in terms of highlighting these issues concerning COVID-19. So now I think we've got a promo here that will actually play, and maybe people will hear and send us names of people who they think are doing their best, So let's hear what this is all about. Umsakazo weVoice of America ulikhuthaza ukuthi likhethe umuntu elimaziyo ulisana kakhulu lomkhuhlane weCoronavirus COVID-19. Ungakhetha umakhelwane wakho, inkokheli yendawo ohlala khona, abezempilakahle labanye. Ungenza njalo, thumela igama lakhe lenombolo yakho uchasise ngamafitshane akwenzayo ku-email ethi voaleaders@voanews.com kumbe ku-WhatsApp kunombolo ethi +1 202 465 0318. Ngizaphinda njalo +1 202 465 0318. There you are, Jonga. If you've got, let's say, a person that you know, but you are not supposed to contest yourself. We don't want any rigging. We don't know. So somebody can actually pick a neighbor. Somebody can pick any person, a health worker, Dr. Mnazi, as he is today. Maybe Jonga can pick him. I don't know. Then if you do that, then you send an email to voaleaders@voanews.com, or you send your nomination to this WhatsApp number, +1 202 465 0318. Nzapinda njalo nasi nombolo +1 202 465 0318. So you pick anybody of your choice, and this is a scheme that cannot be manipulated by anybody, right, Jonga?
Gibbs, ndafunga kuti students wanga wataura kuti ndogona kusarudza munhu. I remember taikura tichingoudzwa kunzi kana ukaenda kumakambani nguva yatainogarira mabasa pamakambani kuZimbabwe, panze pekambani murungu aigona kungobuda ipapo kana foromani okuti ndikuda vanhu 10. Saka iwe first of all count yourself as 1, nokuti ukasarudza vanhu 10 ukazoenda navo maiyani kusaronda 10, saka vakwana iwe washaya basa. Ichazozvisarudza
Jonga has started rigging. So
nemuchungidzira kuti aiwa uyo akashanda zvamunoona zvakakodzera mukurwisana nenyaya yechirwere cheCovid-19 kana kushambadza chenjedzo nekungodzivirira vamwe kuti vasatapurirwa neutachiwana. Hanzi naGibbs pakanyatsososwa zvekuti vanobiridzira handichataura kuti it's rig proof. Saka musatya zvenyukutumira mazita enyu muchita dzimwe nguva zita rangu rinozoraswa. Aiwa, hanzi it's rig proof. Kana changouya ikoko mishina nevariko ikoko vanobva vambozvigadzirisa kuti pasava manipulation inoitwa ipapo.
Uchaikahleka uJonga. Tumeze kuna manje sibone tukamba njani. Jonga, we've got a certain guy who actually sent us his video, talking about COVID-19. So let's listen and hear what he's saying about this.
Njani basakazi lababukeli kuzo zonke izindawo lapha elikhona awukhulumayo ngovusa umuzi Mpofu lapha ngiseBotswana endaweni okuthiwa iMawu njengoba libona lapha bahamba khona abantu kancane but hayi kancane nje emajaradeni ngithi uyabona lapha amashop lawa iziphaza khangela kahle laphana zabona nanseni isigubhu laphana esogeza izandla umthetho sizamuthi siwulandele izimota kancane yahamba zona kodwa hayi kangako ukuthi corona le ivuma khona ukuthi abantu sihlale emakhaya sigeza izandla silandele konke okutshoyo mhlawumbe singaphepha nyabo.
So this gentleman is in Mauni in Botswana, Jonga. He's saying, there are some people who are walking around, but not many of them. But he's saying that people are actually following all the kind of regulations. That Botswana is under a very tight lockdown. So the same applies to Zimbabwe and South Africa. So he's saying, of course, there are cars being driven by people here and there, but generally, he's saying that people actually following all these kind of regulations. Over to you, Jonga.
Thank you so much, Gibbs. It's good to hear from the Zimbabweans who are in different parts of the world. At least we know there are some people who can look after each other there. We spoke earlier in our show with Reverend Kurumizai Richard Sapute, who is in England. And he's from the Zayota Forwarding Faith Church. What Reverend Sapute said is that Zimbabweans, wherever we are, we should look after each other. This is the time that we need the support of our fellow brothers and sisters. So let's do that from wherever we are. This is a moment where we need to show our Ubuntu the unity that we grew up knowing. Gibbs.
Yes, we also have another Zimbabwean, Jonga, who actually sent us his video as well. So Zimbabweans are all over the show, and here is the gentleman. He's saying whatever he thinks is right for him.
Linjani babuDube? Hayi. Sina sizihlalele endlini nje lapha esikhona lapha nje sizihlalele manje ngiphumile phandle ukuthi ngichawa ngumoya nje. Abantu abafuna ukuthobela umthetho kaGovernment. Ngoba lesizwa lengane nje ziyazidlalela nje. Kazibona icala nje. Abantu bazihambela ngoba lesizwa nje lenkwelo phandle la. Kodwa wona uGovernment ubekile umthetho ukuthi abantu bahlale ezindlini. Khona abantu bazofa into le bayithatha kancane abantu kodwa ngoba sibona nje lezi newsini ukuthi ayiyakhuphuka. Abantu kabafuni ukuthobela umthetho kaGovernment. Abayesabi le nto le. Kodwa thina hayi sizihlalele endlini sithi abantu abahlale ezindlini. Ngiyabonga.
Now, this gentleman, contrary to what the other said, he says people are not following regulations. He's in South Africa. He was saying kids are just playing outside, and people don't worry about what is going on in the world. So they're not worried, Jonga, according to him. Yeah.
Yes, Gibbs, yesterday I saw some videos on social media.
Yes.
Of South Africa. Though people are complaining that it may not be enough to cover their day-to-day needs.
Yes, and we've got some other people that are sending us audios all over the world, from all over the world. So now I think we've got some of the audios. So let me play what we have right now, Jonga. Yes, let's hear what they're saying.
Salibonani Mthwakazi omuhle labasakazi bestudio 7 mina engikhulumayo kathesi igama lami lapha ngubhezeni yancube ngisuka endaweni eBhinga kodwa ngikhuluma ngisePlumtree lapha engikhona ngokomsebenzi i-lockdown day ngibone ngani mina ngokubona kwami izachiya abantu sebengamasela abantu ngoba le edlule 21 days abantu sikwanisile ukuyibhajethela ukuthi sizathi siyathutsha i21 days inxa silokhu sikhotha pho le ukwengezelela 42 weeks phezulu ngibone ngani izachiya abantu sebengamasela sebetshontsha ngoba indlela ekhona lapha kudliwa ngomsebenzi ngokusebenza ngokuthi usebenze okunganani pho nxa ungasasebenzi usuhlezi kuthi ukuthi okukhona ukuthi uzalama ugcine ususwela lokuthi uyenze ulambe uyontshontsha uphinde ubutshwe futhi hayi mbonani sibhekane lesikhathi sokwenza esinzima kakhulu ikakhulu iviki yesibili silimbona so siyaphela iviki yesibili le lokuza njengoba siqalisile eyakuqala esibili lelandela mbonani kuyabe sokunzima kakhulu ngoba khathesi vele izililo akusadliwa lutho ezindlini izililo esezilapha hayi sokunzima kakhulu la sokusithi ngakuthiwa hayi kule cebo sibili lokuthi bezame ukuncedisa abantu laba abantu ukwenzela ukuthi kungabi lohlupho olunjengalolu esibhekane nalo vele sibhekane lendlela njengathi thina abantu abadala bengcono kodwa abantwana hayi kulohlupho olukhulu kakhulu.
Yeah, Jonga, they are continuing. Just hold on.
Thank you, Gibbs.
Siyabonga lwaleli thuba mina ngu-Alec Nyathi. Into esiyibonayo lapha e-South Africa ukuthi kume yonke into nsi abantu abaningi abasebenzi bengasebenzi benjalo abaholi njalo abaningana sebenza phela umsebenzi. So iproblem yakhona ukuthi ayikho indlela ongathola ukudla ngaphandle ukuthi ube nemali esikhwameni sakho. So ungananzela i-South Africa iyanikeza abantu bayo ama-packages okudla bathengiswa ama-UIF lama-grant into zonke lezi ezifanayo, but ama-foreigners awabalwa awakhulunywa lutho ngawo. So ubunzima obukhona ukuthi abantu baza kufa ngale corona bafe nangendlala ngoba abenabantu abanakekelayo beselizweni. Bayithi China ihlukumeza ama-Africans, but ama-Africans nakhona ahlukumeza ama-Africans uma bezabandlulula ukuthi banika abantu abangababo ukudla laba baselizweni labangasokabo ke.
So there you are. Those are some of the listeners. One of them is in Plumtree. He was talking about people being turned into criminals. He says if there's no food, the next thing that you have to think of is stealing, nothing else. So he says the extension of this lockdown is going to have a devastating effect on many people. So lucky enough, we have Tingumuzi Puti of ZANU-PF who actually sent us an audio and said, you know what, even those that are in South Africa and Botswana, they need help, in terms of being repatriated to Zimbabwe. So now maybe, Jonga, you can talk to the doctor so that we can wrap up,
Yes, Dr. Munazi, mashoko amungasira vana veZimbabwe zvikuru tisarisa vari kunze kwenyika vari kuchemawo nevari kudzoswa kumusha vachizonogariswa munzvimbo dzavari kuchemawo kuti inzvimbo dzisina kukodzera kuti vange vachigara. Zvii zvamungataurirawo vana veZimbabwe kunze uku ngovasimbisa munogona kuti mururimi rweshona muhamawedzera nechirungu nguva nini?
Ndinotenda handingangoti ruzhinji rweZimbabwe kunyanya vari kunze kwenyika yeZimbabwe pari zvino tinoda kuti ngavarambe vachitaurawo nevanhu vari kumusha vachivazivisa kuti vapenyu nekuti vanenge vakasara kumusha vanenge vachishushikana kuti zvino hama dzedu vapenyu here vatiri kunzwa nenhau dzatiri kungoverenga nekunzwa dziri kunzi vanhu vari kufa vamwe vachirwara. Zvakakosha kuti tigare tichitaura navo tichivazivisawo kuti tiri vapenyu, tiri kugarawo mudzimba, tiri kuzama nezvatingakwanisa kuitira kuti tirambe tiri vatano.
Yes, so Doctor, when we look at some of these issues that we're talking about, it's like, a word of encouragement is very well taken, But then are there anything that people who are Zimbabweans based in London or whatever place are actually doing to help those that are back home? Any initiatives?
Yes, there are a number of initiatives that have been done by the people who are in the diaspora. Some of them including crowdsourcing of funds to make sure that we assist people back home in terms of food. There are organizations that are receiving the funds and making sure that they're buying, mealie meal, cooking oil, and distributing these to vulnerable communities. Some of them have been facing challenges with movement because they needed clearance in terms of because the police are controlling movement particularly in Harare. But otherwise, there are many initiatives that are being done, particularly with assisting vulnerable communities, and also initiatives that are also being done by health workers outside Zimbabwe, assisting those that are back home in terms of expertise and general exchange of knowledge in terms of management of COVID-19.
Yes, can you hold on there? We'll come back to you, Doctor, but we are almost rounding up our program today. But we've got a gentleman who is in Gwanda South. I think his name is Edgar Manala, if I'm not mistaken. So this gentleman is talking about food. He says food is a very, very serious problem in Gwanda. So let's listen to what he's saying about this thing.
Lapha indlala inzima enkulu kakhulu, indlala ezifuyweni ekhanya ngani sizasala singalalutho kungala inkomo, imbuzi, into ngalokho.
Kuyini mhlawumbe okudingakalayo kumele kuyenziwe la, mhlawumbe uzokunqatshelwe nale indlala ngoba siza nyaka yonke abantu abaningi ngapha bayabekhala ngodaba lwendlala lo.
Isinqabele indlela lokuthi sithole ukudla ezitolo. Lakho ukudla khona ezitolo kuyadura, kwedlulisa imali eyiyo. Ukuthi khona kungathini ukuthi kulesipheni ukudla nje njengabantu sesilubhele. Njengoba ngibona khona bangele 83 years asela mali kusebenza into.
So, Jonga, this gentleman was talking to Albert Dube. He's our correspondent based in Gwanda. So he's saying that, he's an old man and he's saying, the problem here is food. So there's nothing that he can do except if somebody tries to give him food one way or the other. So now I think people are in a very, very serious situation, right, Jonga?
Yes, Gibbs, I know we are about to wrap up, but
yes.
I wanted to ask Dr. Munatsi if he can just explain, because in Zimbabwe there's a problem with malaria at the moment. I think over 150 people have died so far from malaria. Over 170,000 people have contracted that disease up to yesterday. Can you explain, because we understand that the symptoms are similar, malaria and the COVID-19?
Yes. 1 minute, Doctor. Go
ahead. Thank you so much, Mr. Jonga. Yes, I think those figures are true. It is known that during this season in Zimbabwe, it is usually the peak of malaria. And unfortunately, malaria, some of its symptoms are quite similar to COVID-19. And we've heard, I think I was listening to the minister speak yesterday. He was saying because of the COVID-19, they are facing challenges with testing of malaria. They are unable to do community testing. Usually, there are teams that are dispatched to communities to test people for malaria and make sure that they are treated as quick as possible. But it seems the government is so far is not in a position to do the traditional way of testing people for malaria. And we've also seen that in the recent days, the government is doing a hybrid test of using the PCR test and also is the antibody test that they're using for screening. So I think it is important for the government to make sure that people who present with symptoms that are similar to COVID-19 are screened accordingly. It will be unfortunate to treat someone as a malaria case when they are in actual fact they are a COVID-19 case, because in many places that malaria is endemic in Zimbabwe, they are likely to be inaccessible in terms of testing for COVID-19, which is why we've been crying for decentralization of testing for COVID-19 to make sure that we do not, endanger the lives of many people.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edgar Munatsi. We really thank you for having joined us tonight on the Diaspora Forum. This is Gibbs Dube in Washington, D.C. saying good night. Jonga?
Kandemiiri Silver Spring ndichitaura kuti aiwa morara zvakanaka mochengetedzeka kubva kuchirwere cheCoronavirus kana COVID-19.